good start.
It's a great
Yeah,
start.
it's the first win.
Only one person in a million can survive that.
We survive. That's just what we do.
I just hope we can win a game.
Welcome to Survivor 2023, presented by Seize the Gap Fantasy Football. I am Jamie G. Esquire the Fifth, and you might say that I'm the Josh Dobbs of the legal profession. I'm here at Magnum, and we're going to help you survive Week 10 in your NFL Survivor and Eliminator contest. Let's get it.
I'm Magnum Mills, and I just want to point out that Jamie G is like Josh Dobbs because his exes keep thinking that they can do better. And we keep trying to be better each week on Survivor 2023, presented by Seize the Gap Fantasy Football. So maybe you should stick with us. You can find us wherever you hear podcasts and on YouTube. We are on social media at Seize the Gap FF. Do not forget it. And do not forget those flaps. Follow, like, and please subscribe. Helps us out a ton. Helps other people find our show, find our channel. We really appreciate it. So if you enjoyed yourself, you had a little fun, please give us that thumb.
We're always 100% transparent about our picks, our results, how we do week in, week out. So there's no need to call Inspector Badgett here. As always, we'll start off with the week 9 results, and we'll give you those season to date statistics.
I like all that, but you should have just said like go Badgett picks, and that would have been cooler. So just FYI. And I can poke a little bit of fun because we had a good week last week. We had the proverbial clean sweep week. Jamie G, you hit your lock, the Cleveland Browns. I hit mine, the New Orleans Saints. The chalk got there. As far as our deep picks, Jamie G, you got there fairly easily with the Green Bay Packers. I had to sweat it out, but thank you, CJ Stroud. Got there in the end. You know, no fault. Of course, they lose their kicker during the game. That's how it works. And we both said, you know what? Eat the chalk this week. Fade the Atlanta Falcons. And guess what? They got Dobbs. So we both hit our fades there. So congratulations to us. Very good job shaking our own hands there. And we are both still at 100% on the season for our locks. Jamie G, you were running 78% on your deep picks, while I am down at 22%. Not great, Bob, but we're hoping to improve. Jamie G, you've hit 44% of your fades, while I have hit 56% of mine. And before we flush week 9 down to the domain of the Ninja Turtles, are there any major takeaways here that you think could help us in Survivor going forward? I mean, you know, is this a thing now? The Dobbs and Stroud, is it that everyone's going to get screwed at the end of the game? Is that how it's working?
Well, I mean, your 22% on your deep should be a lot higher than that. I mean, you've gotten young
Got a couple of field goals. His time expired. Let's put it that way.
You absolutely have. I think that we're starting to figure out who's who, but I would say the one thing with this now is, you know, you've got to look at, in years past, we've had something called the Jets rule. And I think this is a good time to just talk maybe about the potential of a Giants rule. And what that means is just literally looking at who that terrible team is playing and just fading them and just going against them every week. And I think we might be approaching that now with Tommy DeVito and Matt Barkley at the helm for the Giants. I mean, look, man, the Giants absolutely should not go after and get another quarterback. They lose enough games, they're in position to draft one for real. So they're as a franchise doing the right thing here. It's going to suck for Giants fans, but for bettors and for people in Survivor, I think this is something to watch, right, Mills? I mean, we may be approaching Giants rule territory here.
Yeah, you have to think going forward, they are probably going to be the easiest out, as seen by the line we'll get to in a minute here for the Cowboys this week. Well, once Daniel Jones goes out, you don't think it's that big a deal, right? Tyrod Taylor was out playing the man. That line has moved almost a full touchdown in favor of the Cowboys. Not expected to be competitive. You know, shout out Tommy DeVito. It is what it is. But if you're that kind of team and you're starting an undrafted quarterback at this point of the season, theoretically for the rest of the season, yeah, what you're playing for is the right to draft a better quarterback, basically. So I think the Giants are going to be into that territory. And again, just probably we're at the point where teams are going to start making that decision. Are we really going for it for that playoff berth, or are we going to start playing the kids? You know, you never tell the coaches to tank, but the front office can set it up in such a way that it happens organically. So just keep an eye out, especially watch the injury report too. You know, offensive line doesn't sound like a lot, but like the Browns losing their left tackle matters a lot. You don't think about that kind of thing, but it matters more than you think. So just pay attention to kind of where teams are at as we kind of kick into the back half of the season here.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, injuries at this point of the year. Good point, Mills. That's a huge thing. Outside of that, I would say the only other thing is I don't ever try to make decisions based on gut and the whimsical like teams need a win, but we are getting to the point of the season where it's put up or shut up time for a lot of teams, and I think you have to factor that in a little bit, right? Like if a team is absolutely back against the wall, they lose this game, their chances of playoff contention or division contention are slipped. I put a little bit more stock in that. Not saying it's the end all be all, but I think we're at that point of the year now where, we're halfway through the season. You got to start at least considering that a little bit. And the last thing I'll say, Mills, is do your research on players. Mills, if you knew how smart of a guy Josh Dobbs is, maybe, just maybe, the rest of the world would have listened to us and faded Atlanta, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we did not know that the man went to college for like aeronautical engineering. He's actually a rocket scientist. So
right.
You don't see that a lot in the NFL. It doesn't happen too much. So hopefully he'll have a good career after football.
Well,
I do need to get my ass
awesome.
to Mars, or I've been told, anyways.
You better get your ass to Mars, dude. No doubt. Well, we flushed week 9. It is on to week 10. Mills, go ahead and hit us. What are our biggest favorites on the board this week? And tell us which teams are on a bye this week. We still have byes going on and will for the next couple here.
And starting at the top of the board, the Dallas Cowboys are a 16.5-point favorite at home against the New York Giants. The Buffalo Bills are a 7.5-point favorite at home against the Denver Broncos on Monday Night Football. The Cincinnati Bengals are 6.5-point favorites at home versus the Houston Texans. The Baltimore Ravens are 6.5-point favorites at home versus the Cleveland Browns. And finally, the Seattle Seahawks are 6-point favorites at home versus the Washington Commanders. As far as teams on a bye this week, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Rams, Miami Dolphins, Philadelphia Eagles. So definitely some teams in there that have been used in a lot of Survivor leagues, so maybe doesn't have quite as much impact now as it would have had a few weeks ago. We really have two tiers here, right, Jamie? You have Dallas, and then you have a whole ton of crap, and then you have everybody else. And just any thoughts on the Dallas of it all? Are they that good? I mean, they've beaten up on bad teams, or is this, like you said, what we should be expecting with the Giants going forward? Just double-digit spreads, game in, game out.
I think they're a good football team, but I think it's mostly a result of how bad the Giants are. If the Giants were playing Arizona, would it be a 14.5-point spread? No. But if the Giants are playing any good team that's a playoff team, and, look, Dallas still has a shot at winning that division. I don't think they will, but they could. But I definitely think they're a playoff team. It's going to be a high spread. I think it's more about just how bad and how dire it is for the Giants right now. And it's kind of been this way even when they were at full health. It's kind of been a season loss, so to speak, but now it's just so blatantly obvious that Vegas agrees and Vegas is pricing it accordingly. So I think more to do with Giants and Dallas, but I hate Dallas, but I am going to give them their flowers. They're a good football team.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And it kind of feels like the Cowboys are the NFC version of the Dolphins, right? They've had these really big games. They can be very impressive, attract a lot of public attention, but they've struggled to put up the W's against better teams.
Yeah.
If I get locked up tonight, then I might not come home tonight. Keep it moving.
I think we got to call Eminem and Dr. Dre because it's time to get locked up, which is a good thing right here on Survivor 2023. This may be the only place that you want to get locked up. I don't know, but it's time to give our locks of the week. We are guaranteeing victory for these teams in week 10, and you can absolutely take that to the bank. Mills, remind us who we've taken of our locks so far, because we can only use a team twice as our lock.
You can take that to the bank. I believe that's from Hard to Kill. Deep cut there. I like that. Jamie G, you have used Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City, Philadelphia, Detroit, Miami, Seattle, Miami, and Cleveland. So Miami's off the board for you. I have used Baltimore, Dallas, Kansas City, San Francisco, Miami, Buffalo, Seattle, Detroit, and New Orleans. No pressure on you, Jamie G, but I am going to take the Buffalo Bills. I have been saving them here for a minute. It was a situation back, I believe, when Seattle played Arizona, when I made that decision there, that was kind of looking like a swap here. So I said, all right, if I'm going to use Seattle back then, I'm going to commit to using Buffalo at home, Monday Night Football against Denver. And like you said, man, this is a game they need to win. This is one of those spots they absolutely need it. Denver is coming off the bye. I could expect them to be a little bit feisty, but this is an all hands on deck game for the Bills. I think they'll show out in prime time, even if it's a little bit closer than you like. I feel confident they'll get it done here. And honestly, if I don't use them here, I don't know when I'm using them again, unless you're going to get all the way to maybe week 17 against New England. Who knows if your Survivor contest will run that long. So I'm going to go ahead, take the Bills here. Jamie G, who's your lock week 10?
I like it, buddy. I expect the Bills to bounce back. I'm going to go ahead and eat the chalk. I haven't used them yet this year. I'm taking Dallas. I just don't see a way. And even if Dak Prescott blows out an ACL, I still think Cooper Rush can come in and win this game from the Giants. I think it might be a little bit close to start. Giants defense will try to keep them in it, but I just don't see a way that the Giants can even score, maybe double-digit points here. Definitely not 20. And I think Dallas can put up 20 points against Giants defense. So I'm taking Dallas here and feeling pretty darn good about it.
I think the Dallas defense might be able to put up 20 points against the Giants offense.
That's the other thing.
Maybe throw in the kicker. Well, the defense and kicker can combine for 20 points. Would that really surprise you? 2 touchdowns, 2 extra points, 2 field goals. We could get 20 out of the kicker and the DST. So start them in your fantasy leagues this week, obviously.
Obviously, that is a top
Brandon Aubrey,
priority. Yes.
Danger! Danger! Get on the...
Next up, we are going to give you our fades of the week. These are teams that you should avoid this week in your Survivor contest. And, we're trying to fade teams that are going to be catch notable ownership in Survivor contests. So, it can get a little tricky at this point in the season. We're halfway through the season, but we're absolutely doing our best to try to find and dig and come up with a couple options for you guys. It's no point in fading a team if absolutely nobody has them left. So we're doing the work. We're putting it in for you because we love you. Please note that we can fade a team as many times as we like throughout the season. Mills, who have we faded so far?
Jamie G, you have faded Seattle, New York Giants, Baltimore, Los Angeles Chargers, Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Rams, Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens, and Atlanta Falcons. I have faded Washington Commanders, Philadelphia Eagles, Jacksonville Jaguars, Los Angeles Chargers, Buffalo Bills, Philadelphia Eagles, Los Angeles Rams, Los Angeles Chargers, and Atlanta. What did Los Angeles ever do to me? I don't know, but I like to fade them. But I faded Philly twice, so, been doing okay in the fades. Jamie G, why don't you lead us off on this one? Week 10 fade.
And I know that very, 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 very few people have Baltimore left. If you have them, I think there's a better week to use them. Tough AFC North matchup there. Again, they'll probably win the game, but there's better time to use them. For me, I'm going to fade a team that I think a lot of people have left just because of how slow of a start they had with the injury to their star quarterback in preseason. I'm fading the Cincinnati Bengals here. And, the reason why is, A, they're due, right? They're due for a little bit of a letdown, but B, they've got some serious injuries. We mentioned keeping an eye on the injury report. Both Chase Young banged up, got a lower back situation on a hard hit in the game on Sunday night, and T. Higgins re-aggravated a hamstring. Those 2 injuries there alone really scare me. And the other portion of it on the other side of the ball here, dude, it's hard to kind of go against Houston and CJ Stroud. You just never know. They seem to be in most of these games. I really like this team. I really like the coaching staff. I just don't see it here. I think this is absolutely a reason to stay away. If you absolutely have to get action on this, I say you take the plus 6.5 or whatever it is. Take the points on Houston if you absolutely want to get action on this. But from a Survivor standpoint, I'm fading Cincinnati.
Yeah, I would call Houston, they're my SEAL team, and not like SEAL Team 6 or something. Like SEAL because they've been kissed by a rose. Every season, there's 1 or 2 of these teams that just seem to kind of pull out 6 victories out of nowhere or something like that. And Houston just feels like they could be that team going down the stretch. You never like to go against a hot quarterback like that. Jamie G, I like what you're putting down, but one thing scares me. There's 2 ways you can go. You can either say everything happens in threes, or the third time is a charm. Because this is the 3rd time in recent memory you're going basically against a team who just beat the Bills. And you're calling it here. It's the 3rd time. But you know what? I'm going with 3rd time's a charm. I'm going to back you on this one simply because it's a great math play. I think they're going to pick up crazy ownership. There's other spots to use them. It's a great leverage play. Looks like T. Higgins is already out. Even if Jamar Chase is playing, he'll be a little bit injured. Just a little bit of a letdown game here. I think you can find a better week for it. So I'm saying doubling down with you, man. Let's go ahead. Let's fade the Bengals. Let's watch the magic happen.
And magic will.
Let me go deep, 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 deep.
Finally, we're going to roll into the deep. We're each going to give you one Survivor option that's not seeing much usage in Survivor contests this week. And we're at the part of the season where you really might have to, like, you might be forced to start swimming into the deep, but you don't have any of the favorite teams, right? So, I mean, this is normal. This is par for the course. We're in that part of the year, whether you like it or not. It's time to jump into the deep. For the record, we each only use a team twice here as our deep throughout the season. Mills, go ahead and give us the breakdown of our season-to-date deeps and hit us with your deep for week 10 while you're at it.
JBG, you have used Green Bay, Miami, Seattle, Minnesota, New Orleans, Indianapolis, Cleveland, and Green Bay. I have used Denver, the Los Angeles Chargers, Detroit, Cleveland, Houston, Atlanta, Green Bay, Atlanta, and Houston. Definitely getting consistent down to the end there. A couple ways I could go with this one. I am going to kind of take what the team that could pick up maybe a little bit of ownership might want to be in the fourth most used, but I'm okay with it here. I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers at home against the Green Bay Packers. Honestly, the Packers just call me Shania Twain, man. They just have not impressed me much. They got it done last week against Brett Rippon in a very hobbled Rams team. I mean, congratulations. They made that look kind of difficult. I think Pittsburgh is going to be – they'll have a couple weeks where they can be fine, but they're a very scary team to own. They're kind of like the Falcons. Don't watch the game. Just look at the box score at the end and hope that they won, because it seems that they somehow managed to snatch that victory from the jaws of defeat more often than not. But I'm hoping they can do it here for me. So give me the Pittsburgh Steelers, rolling into the deep, taking down the Packers. Jamie G, who you swimming with?
Mills, there's a couple options this week, but I'm actually going to go with the guy who did a classic guy thing, man. Had this beautiful stash, shaved it off, and then immediately regretted it, and is currently working to regrow it. Talking about Arthur Smith and the Atlanta Falcons. I'm taking Atlanta this week. I know they're on the road, and I know they're going, but it's one dome to the next. I know Kyler Murray's coming back, but dude, Kyler Murray hasn't played football since your boy Jamie G had a mustache. I mean, and I've never grown one. It's been a while, dude. I mean, I'm talking about like last year. He's gonna be a little bit rusty. I don't know that Arizona is that good of a team. I think people have kind of caught up to what they're doing, even with Kyler Murray. I don't expect the full playbook to be there. Who knows? He could come out and wow everybody. That's a risk. But I think he's going to be a little bit rusty, and I think they're going to kind of ease him back in from a scope of what they're doing from a play calling standpoint. I also think that there's a lot of pressure on Atlanta to say, why the hell did we draft Bijan Robinson that high if we're not going to use him? I do think we can see a big day out of the playmakers. I mean, look at the playmakers available, man. We got Kyle Pitts. We got Drake London. We got Bijan Robinson. Tyler Algier is a great player as well. There's so many, Johnny Smith. Like, there's a lot of playmakers on this Atlanta offense. I think it's enough to score some points. And I think Atlanta's defense can do enough to stymie Arizona's offense. I'm going with Atlanta. I don't think it's going to be like a blowout and I'm going to feel great. It may be a nail biter and a sweater, but I think we get there. Give me Atlanta as my deep pick this week.
I like that. Always, at the end of the day, Atlanta's definitely trying to win games. Arizona might not be as motivated.
We are going to close out the show by making our contest picks. And first up, it's our in-show Survivor contest. Going to go ahead and knock on all the wood here because it's week 10, baby, and we're still going. Mills, who have we used so far?
Jamie G, you have used Baltimore, San Francisco, Kansas City, Philadelphia, Detroit, Buffalo, Seattle, Miami, and Cleveland. I have used Baltimore, Dallas, Kansas City, San Francisco, Miami, Buffalo, Seattle, Detroit, and Cleveland. So are you taking Dallas or are you taking Dallas?
I think I'm going to go ahead and shock the world here and take Dallas. I have to, Mil. You can't talk about I'm Dallas. I'm taking it.
Yeah, see, this is the one who puts me in a little bit of a crunch. The only one of the teams that are basically favored by more than 3 points that I have available is Cincinnati. I am not going to go there. So I got to go for it, man. I got to dig into my deep here. I got to swim with it. I got to go with the Steelers. It does seem appropriate that I put it all on the line against the Packers, the team who I have struggled with to get a handle on this year. Been going better the past 2 weeks, so I think I got it this time. I think I'm on it. I'm around it.
I like it, man. Our first deep action of the season. It's that time, buddy. It is that time. Next up, it's our mid-season Survivor contest, which we call a little Survivor Junior. And it's the same as our show contest, except that it started in week 7. Mills, what's happened so far the last couple of weeks here in Survivor Junior?
Well, Jamie G, you used Seattle, Kansas City, and Cleveland. Unfortunately, Kansas City lost. So you had to do a little Uncle Junior thing for that. So I'm officially the champion, but we're still going because it's fun. And maybe it helps some of you people out who are in these mid-season Survivor contests. I have used Cleveland, Baltimore, and New Orleans. Jamie G, I have them available here, so I'm a bandwagon up with you and give me the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, let's just make it a clean sweep here. And I am also going to do the Dallas Cowboys. Anything else before we get out of here, buddy?
Oh, just interesting. I mean, you had a risk-free chance to take your Buffalo Bills, and you did not do it. I mean, you've already technically lost the joy, but he doubles down in Dallas. It just shows you where his heart really lies. He just deep down, he just wants to go to Jerry World.
Don't we all? And
well, I want to swim in his money bin. I hate Jerry Jones, but I would swim in his money bin, and you know that bastard has one too.
That's it. Of course he does. In all seriousness, I do think the Bills will win. I will be getting some action on that game in other formats, but for this, if you got them, smoke them. In this case, it's Dallas. Don't see a world in which they lose. Got to do it. And you know what you got to do? You got to continue checking us out because we have been absolutely crushing it this year. It's been a ton of fun. We appreciate you tuning in and doing Survivor with us. And I just want to thank you. We want to thank you for checking us out right here on Survivor 2023, presented by Seize the Gap Fantasy Football. You got to seize the gap, man. And we'll be here each and every week during the NFL season to help make sure that you're seizing the gap and that you're the last entry standing in your Survivor contest with that big bag of cold, hard cash, baby. Mills, hit us with the details one last time.
It really is all about seizing that gap so you can stop being so inefficient. We really don't care if you're old. Not an excuse these days. That's how it goes. Thanks again for checking us out. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts at, on YouTube, on the social media at Seize the Gap FF. Don't forget to get those picks in this week, and don't forget the flaps. Follow, like, and please subscribe. It's all we ask. If you had fun, please click the thumb. I'm Magnum Mills. He's Jamie G. And remember, the key to winning your Survivor Leagues is to listen to us, have a plan, and get lucky.
Stay lucky, my friends.